Rain hammered down on the metal roof of Jai-Ho's repair shop. The sound was loud but familiar to him after 15 years of fixing ships at New Seoul Spaceport. Lightning flashed outside, lighting up the cluttered workshop for a brief moment. Tools hung on walls, parts lay on tables, and the smell of oil and metal filled the air. Jai-Ho wiped sweat from his forehead with a dirty rag. He had been working for 10 hours straight on an old cargo hauler. The owner needed it fixed by morning, and Jai-Ho never broke his promises. Just one more connection, he muttered to himself, tightening a bolt under the engine. His hands, rough from years of work, moved with surprising grace. Machines made sense to Jai-Ho in a way people often didn't. A crash from outside made him jump, hitting his head on the underside of the engine. Ouch! Jai-Ho crawled out, rubbing his head. What now? He grabbed a flashlight and walked to the back door of his shop. The rain was coming down in sheets. In the narrow alley behind his building, trash cans had been knocked over. Probably just the wind, Jai-Ho thought, or maybe one of the stray cats that he sometimes fed. As he turned to go back inside, a weak sound caught his attention. It wasn't quite a meow, but something similar. Jai-Ho pointed his flashlight at the ground near the fallen trash cans. Two golden eyes reflected the light back at him. He moved closer, careful not to make sudden movements. "Hello there," he said softly. "Are you hurt?" Huddled against the wall was what looked like a small cat, no bigger than Jai-Ho's hand. But as he crouched down for a better look, he realized this was no earth cat. The creature had two sets of ears, one pair pointed up like a cat's, another smaller pair closer to its head. It had 6 limbs instead of 4, and its wet fur had an unusual blue-gray color. One of its limbs bent at a strange angle. "You're not from around here, are you?" Jai-Ho whispered. The tiny being tried to back away, but winced in pain. Its golden eyes stayed fixed on Jai-Ho, showing not just fear, but a clear intelligence. Jai-Ho had seen many alien species come through the spaceport. Earth had been part of the galactic community for almost 30 years now. But he had never seen anything like this small creature. "I won't hurt you," Jai-Ho said, slowly taking off his work jacket. "You need help." Moving with extreme care, he placed the jacket on the ground. The small alien watched him, its eyes never blinking despite the rain. Jai-Ho backed away a few steps and waited. After what seemed like forever, the creature limped onto the edge of the jacket. Jai-Ho very slowly picked up the corners, making a kind of hammock with the alien in the middle. Back inside the workshop, Jai-Ho cleared a space on his workbench. He put down some clean rags to make a nest and gently placed the alien there. Under the bright shop lights, he could see that the creature was in bad shape. Besides the broken limb, it had cuts and bruises all over its small body. "Let me see what I can do for you," Jai-Ho said, reaching for his first aid kit. The alien made a hissing sound when Jai-Ho got too close. "I understand," Jai-Ho nodded. "You don't know me, but that leg needs to be set." He thought for a moment, then opened a drawer and took out some small mechanical parts. With practiced hands, he quickly assembled a tiny splint, just the right size for the creature's injured limb. "See," he showed the alien the splint. "This will help your leg heal straight." The tiny being looked at the splint, then at Jai-Ho. Its eyes narrowed slightly. Then, to Jai-Ho's surprise, it extended its broken limb toward him. "Thank you for trusting me," Jai-Ho said quietly. With the gentleness he usually reserved for the most delicate engine parts, he set the broken limb and applied the splint. The alien made no sound during the process, though Jai-Ho could tell it was in pain. Such a brave little thing, he thought. Once the splint was secure, Jai-Ho filled a small dish with water and placed it near the nest of rags. He also put out some cut-up pieces of the protein bar he'd been saving for his dinner. "It's not much, but it should help until morning," he told his unexpected guest. "I don't know what you normally eat." The alien sniffed at the water, but didn't drink. It ignored the food completely. Jai-Ho yawned. It was past midnight now. He still had to finish the cargo hauler before dawn. "I need to get back to work," he told the alien. "You rest. You're safe here." As Jai-Ho returned to the engine repair, he didn't see the alien watching his every move with calculating eyes. He didn't notice when it took out a tiny device from a pouch in its fur, nor did he hear the soft, high-pitched sounds it made into the device. If he had understood the alien language, he would have heard. Scout Ta reporting to Miria Command. Emergency landing successful but ship destroyed. Cover identity compromised. Have made contact with local life form. Current status: injured but secure. Will continue mission once mobile. Send extraction team in 3 lunar cycles. The tiny alien, whose name was Tai, put away the communication device and watched Jai-Ho work. This human was different from what Tai had expected. The Myriok intelligence reports described humans as dangerous, unpredictable, and hostile to unknown species. But this one had helped him. Tai's mission was to scout Earth for the upcoming Myriok expansion. His people needed new territories, and Earth had been marked as a potential target. As a scout, Tai's job was to gather information about Earth's defenses and find weaknesses. Being small had always been Ta's greatest shame. The Myriok were known throughout the galaxy as mighty warriors, towering over most species at nearly 10 feet tall. But Ta had been born with a rare genetic condition that stunted his growth. Instead of becoming a respected warrior, he had been assigned to reconnaissance missions, where his small size was actually useful. Now, as Tai watched Jai-Ho fix an engine with impressive skill, he began to wonder. The human could have easily killed or captured him. Instead, he had helped. This did not match what Tai had been told about humans. When Jai-Ho finally finished working on the cargo hauler, the sun was beginning to rise. He checked on his small guest and found the alien sleeping, curled up in the nest of rags. In sleep, it looked almost peaceful. "What am I going to do with you?" Jai-Ho whispered. He had a friend, Hanbayol, who used to work in xenobiology before retiring. Maybe she would know what species this creature belonged to and how to help it better. Jai-Ho carefully covered the sleeping alien with a soft cloth and went to clean himself up. As tired as he was, he felt a strange excitement. There was something special about this tiny visitor from the stars. He didn't know what yet, but he was determined to find out. What Jai-Ho didn't know was that his simple act of kindness would soon change not just his life, but the fate of the entire human race. 3 days passed since Jai-Ho found the strange alien creature. He named it Blue because of its unusual blue-gray fur, not knowing it already had a name. The tiny being was healing quickly. Its cuts were almost gone, and it moved around more, though it still favored the injured limb. Jai-Ho called his friend Hanbayol on the 2nd day. She lived in the apartment building next to his shop and had worked with alien species for 30 years before retiring. "You need to come see this," Jai-Ho told her over the phone. "I've never seen anything like it." Hanbayol arrived that afternoon. She was a small woman with gray hair tied in a neat bun. Her eyes were sharp behind round glasses, missing nothing. "Where is this mystery alien?" she asked, setting down her bag. Jai-Ho led her to the back room, where he had made a comfortable space for Blue. The alien was sitting on a small platform Jai-Ho had built, watching them with those intelligent golden eyes. Hanbayol froze when she saw it. Her face went pale. "Jai-Ho," she said quietly, "do you know what you have here?" "No, that's why I called you." She moved closer, studying the small creature. Those markings, the 6 limbs, the double set of ears. This appears to be a Myriok. "A what?" "Myriok, a warrior race from the Andromeda galaxy." Hanbayol frowned. "But that can't be right. Myriok are huge, nearly 10 feet tall. They're one of the most feared species in known space." The tiny alien watched them talk, its head tilted slightly as if trying to understand. "This little guy, a feared warrior." Jai-Ho laughed. "He's smaller than my hand." "That's what doesn't make sense. Hanbyul took out a small scanner from her bag. "May I?" Jaiho nodded, but when she approached, Blue hissed and backed away. "It's okay," Jaiho said to Blue. "She won't hurt you." To Hanbyul's surprise, the alien seemed to understand. It sat still, though its eyes never left her scanner. "Remarkable," she said after a minute. "The genetic markers are definitely Myriok, but something is different. This one has a condition similar to dwarfism in humans. That would explain the size." "Is that why it was alone? They abandoned it." Jaiho felt angry at the thought. "I don't know. Myriok society is largely unknown to us. They rarely interact with other species except in conflict." Hanbyul put away her scanner. "Jaiho, I should report this to the Earth Defense Force." "Why?" "Blue isn't hurting anyone. Blue is a member of a species known for conquering worlds. We've had reports of Myriok scout ships near our solar system recently." Jaiho looked at the small alien. It had moved closer to him, as if seeking protection. "Look at him, Byul. He's injured and alone. Whatever his species has done, he's just trying to survive." Hanbyul sighed. "You always did have a soft heart, Jaiho. Fine, I won't report it yet, but I want to monitor the situation, and you need to be careful." "I will. Thank you." After Hanbyul left, Jaiho sat down next to Blue's platform. "So you're supposed to be some big, scary warrior," he said with a smile. "You don't seem so scary to me." The alien made a chirping sound that almost seemed like it was responding. "Can you understand me?" Jaiho asked, suddenly curious. Blue tilted his head, then deliberately raised one tiny paw and placed it back down. "Was that a yes?" Jaiho's eyes widened. "Do that again if you understand what I'm saying." The alien raised and lowered its paw once more. "Amazing." Jaiho laughed. "You're smarter than I thought. But if you understand me, why haven't you tried to communicate before?" Blue looked at him with those golden eyes, then slowly turned and pointed at a tool on Jaiho's workbench. It was a small digital tablet Jaiho used for diagnosing engine problems. "You want the tablet." The alien raised its paw again. Jaiho brought the tablet over. Blue immediately began tapping on it with his tiny paws. To Jaiho's astonishment, words appeared on the screen. "My name Tee, not Bilu." Jaiho nearly dropped the tablet. "You can write. In human language. Learn D from ship computer. Basic English simple. Why didn't you tell me before? Needed trust. Observe you first." Jaiho sat back, trying to process this. The small alien wasn't just intelligent, it was highly advanced, capable of learning human language and using technology. "Are you really here alone? Or is your your ship nearby?" Ta seemed to hesitate, then typed, "Ship Kirashid. Alone, no." "I'm sorry," Jaiho said. "What will you do?" "He'll first, then decide." Over the next few weeks, Jaiho and Ta developed a routine. During the day, while Jaiho worked on ships and engines, Ta would watch from a special shelf Jaiho had built. It gave the alien a good view of the whole shop while keeping him hidden from customers. At night, they would talk through the tablet. Ta was curious about everything: how engines worked, why humans lived the way they did, what different tools were for. Jaiho, in turn, learned that Ta had been on a survey mission before his ship malfunctioned and crashed. Ta never explained exactly what he was surveying or why, and Jaiho didn't push. As Ta's leg healed, Jaiho built him a small exoskeleton to support the injured limb. It was a delicate piece of work, using parts from a precision calibration tool. "Try this," Jaiho said, presenting the tiny mechanical brace to Ta. The alien examined it carefully, then let Jaiho attach it to his injured limb. When Tai stood up and walked without pain for the first time in weeks, his ears perked up in what Jaiho had learned was a sign of happiness. "Good design," Ta typed. You are a LED builder. Thanks. Jaiho smiled. It's nothing special. Wrong. Very special. My people will value this skill. One day, a customer brought in a ship with an engine problem no one else could fix. The man was desperate. I've taken it to 5 different shops, he told Jaiho. No one can figure out what's wrong. I need this ship working by tomorrow, or I lose my contract. Jaiho examined the engine for hours but couldn't find the issue. Late that night, after the customer left, Ta climbed down from his shelf and tapped on the tablet. I can help. You know about ship engines? Jaiho asked, surprised. Different design, similar print side gillies. Let me show. Jaiho lifted Tai up to the open engine panel. The tiny alien moved with surprising confidence among the complex machinery. He pointed at components, and Jaiho followed his instructions. Together, they found a microscopic fracture in a fuel regulation chip, something easily missed but catastrophic if left unfixed. When the customer returned the next day, the engine was running perfectly. I don't know how you did it, the man said, paying Jaiho twice his usual fee. But you've saved my business. After that, Jaiho and Ta became a team. With Ta's help, Jaiho could fix problems that stumped other mechanics. His reputation grew, and soon he had more work than he could handle. What Jaiho didn't know was that Ta was sending regular reports to the Myriok fleet. Not about Earth's weaknesses as he was supposed to, but about Jaiho's kindness and ingenuity. About how humans might be valuable allies rather than subjects to conquer. And in deep space, Commander Sang, Ta's clutch brother, read these reports with growing interest. The fleet was still months away from Earth, but Sang had already begun to question their mission. If one small human could show such compassion to a Myriok, even a stunted one like Ta, perhaps there was more to these creatures than the Myriok High Command believed. As Jaiho slept that night, Ta sat by the window looking at the stars, wondering if he was committing treason by admiring the human who had saved him, or if he was opening the door to a better future for both their kinds. 2 months had passed since Jaiho found Ta. The small alien was now fully healed, moving quickly and easily with the help of the exoskeleton Jaiho had built. They worked together every day in the shop, fixing machines that others couldn't. Jaiho's business was better than ever. People came from all over New Seoul Spaceport with their broken ships and engines. They didn't know about Ta, of course. The alien stayed hidden when customers were around, watching from his special shelf. One morning, Jaiho was working on a luxury spacecraft when Han-Biol rushed into the shop. Her face was pale, and she was breathing hard. Jaiho, we have a problem, she said, looking around to make sure they were alone. The Earth Defense Force is coming here. Jaiho put down his tools. Why? What do they want? They've detected unusual energy readings in this area, readings that match Myriok technology. Han-Biol looked up at Ta's shelf. They know something is here. Jaiho felt cold fear in his stomach. How much time do we have? Not much. Maybe an hour. Han-Biol wrung her hands. Jaiho, if they find Ta here, they'll take him. They'll study him. It won't be pleasant. Jaiho nodded and climbed up to get Ta. The small alien was already alert, his ears standing straight up. Ta, we need to hide you, Jaiho said. Earth soldiers are coming. Ta quickly typed on his tablet. My fault. Communication device EDTTT80. You've been communicating with someone. Jaiho felt a stab of betrayal. With who? My people. Had to report. Han-Biol gasped. I knew it. He's been sending information to the Myriok fleet. Jaiho looked at Ta with hurt in his eyes. Is that true? Have you been spying on us? Ta's ears flattened against his head, a sign Jaiho had learned meant sadness or shame. He typed rapidly. Not is pying. Telling truth. About humans. About you. What about me? That you PD. That humans not in a nice. Before Jai-Ho could respond, there was a loud knock at the door. Han Bai-ul peeked through a window. They're here, she whispered. 5 EDF officers. Jai-Ho made a quick decision. He picked up Ta and placed him inside a special compartment he had built in his workbench, hidden under tools and parts. Stay quiet, he told the alien. I'll handle this. The knocking came again, harder this time. Jai-Ho took a deep breath and opened the door. 5 people in the gray uniforms of the Earth Defense Force stood outside. Their leader was a woman with short black hair and stern eyes. Her name tag read Captain Yunji. Are you Park Jai-Ho? She asked. Yes, that's me. I'm Captain Yunji of the EDF. We have detected unauthorized alien technology in this area. We need to search your shop. Jai-Ho tried to look calm. Of course, Captain. Come in. The officers spread out through the shop, scanning everything with their devices. Captain Yunji watched Jai-Ho carefully. You have an impressive operation here, she said. I hear you can fix things no one else can. I'm just good with machines. Jai-Ho shrugged. One of the officers called out from across the room. Captain, I'm getting strong readings from this workbench. Jai-Ho's heart sank as they all moved toward where Ta was hidden. Captain Yunji looked at Jai-Ho with narrowed eyes. Is there something you want to tell me, Mr. Park? Before Jai-Ho could answer, the workbench compartment opened from the inside. Ta climbed out and stood on the bench, his golden eyes fixed on the captain. The officers gasped and raised their weapons. Captain Yunji held up her hand to stop them from firing. What is that? She asked Jai-Ho. Han Bai-ul stepped forward. I can explain, Captain. I'm Dr. Han Bai-ul, former head of xenobiology at the Global Science Institute. This is a Myriok, but he's not what you think. A Myriok. Captain Yunji looked at the tiny alien in disbelief. Impossible. Myriok are giant warriors. This one has a genetic condition, Han Bai-ul explained. He crashed here months ago. Jai-Ho found him injured and helped him. Ta picked up his tablet and typed, I am Myriok. Name Te. Not enemy. Captain Yunji read the message, her face hard. You'll forgive me if I don't take your word for it. The Myriok have destroyed 17 worlds. We have reports of their fleet heading toward our system. Jai-Ho felt sick. He looked at Ta, who seemed smaller than ever surrounded by armed humans. Is that true? He asked quietly. Is your fleet coming here? Ta nodded slowly, then typed. Yes, but NOTAs NEMIs, because AOFMI reportees. Your reports about what? Captain Yunji demanded. About humans. About cooperation. The captain shook her head. I've heard enough. Secure the alien and all technology in this shop. Mr. Park and Dr. Han, you're coming with us for questioning. The officers moved forward, but suddenly alarms began blaring from their scanners. One of them looked at his device with wide eyes. Captain, a ship just entered Earth's atmosphere. It's using Myriok energy signatures. Captain Yunji grabbed her radio. This is Captain Yunji. We have detected a Myriok vessel entering Sector 7. Request immediate backup. Tai was typing frantically. My duro there coming. Commander sang. Wants peace. Do not ATTACK. You expect us to believe that? Captain Yunji scoffed. The Myriok don't want peace. Jai-Ho looked at Ta. Despite everything, he trusted the small alien. Captain, please, at least wait to see what they want. The radio crackled. Captain Yunji. This is command. The alien vessel is small, appears to be a single scout ship. It's requesting communication. They're asking to speak with the human who protects Ta. The room went silent. Captain Yunji stared at Jai-Ho, then at Ta. Finally, she said into her radio, tell them to land at coordinates I'm sending now. We'll meet them there. 20 minutes later, they all stood in an empty field outside the spaceport. Jai-Ho, Han-Biol, and Tai were surrounded by EDF officers. Captain Yun-Jae had called in more troops, and now 30 soldiers formed a ring around the landing area, weapons ready. A sleek black ship appeared in the sky. It was smaller than Jai-Ho expected, about the size of a transport shuttle. It landed silently on the field, sending up a cloud of dust. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then a door opened in the side of the ship. A ramp extended to the ground. Everyone tensed, expecting to see a giant Myriok warrior. Instead, a small figure appeared at the door, no larger than Ta. Captain Yunji frowned. What trick is this? The figure walked down the ramp. It was another Myriok, similar to Ta but with darker fur and a scar across one ear. It wore what looked like a miniature version of battle armor. That's Commander Sang, Han-Biol whispered. But he's tiny. Ta suddenly jumped from Jai-Ho's hands and ran toward the other Myriok. The soldiers raised their weapons, but Captain Yunji signaled them to wait. The two small aliens met in the middle of the field. They touched foreheads in what seemed like a greeting. Then they both turned to face the humans. Tai held up his tablet with a new message. This is Commander Sang, my Kilutichi brother. He comes in peace. The other Myriok, Sang, had his own device. He held it up, showing a message in perfect English. I wish to speak with Jai-Ho, who is AVD my brother. Captain Yunji looked uncertain, but finally nodded to Jai-Ho. Go ahead, but be careful. Jai-Ho walked forward slowly until he stood before the two Myriok. Up close, he could see that Sang's armor was actually a complex mechanical suit, fitted perfectly to his small body. I am Jai-Ho, he said simply. I helped Tai because he was hurt. Sang's device displayed. UAVCHANGDEV. Ching. Human Jai-Ho. The Myreok fleet comes no T2Q here, but T2 meet the species. They T-Satios kindness to the small. Jai-Ho didn't understand, but I thought the Myriok were giant warriors. Sang and Ta looked at each other. Then Sang's device showed a new message, words that would change how humans saw the galaxy forever. What UKLMIREOK warriors are not US. They are our machines. We are the HE pilots inside. All MIREOK are this size. Silence fell over the field. Captain Yunji and her soldiers stared at the two small aliens in shock. Han-Biol's mouth hung open. Jai-Ho looked from Tai to Sang, trying to understand what this meant. All Myriok are small, Jai-Ho finally asked. The giant warriors are just machines. Sang nodded and typed on his device. We pilot battle suits. Our true bodies small. Captain Yunji stepped forward. If this is true, why has no one ever seen a Myriok outside their battle suits before? Safety, Sang typed. Galaxy dangerous for all species, and sea stores built suites for pro TCT1. Tai added on his tablet. BCA may our strength, but also Horizon. Han-Biol moved closer, her scientific curiosity overcoming her fear. The suits I've seen in reports are 10 feet tall, with incredible strength and weapons. You built those. Sang's ears twitched with what seemed like pride. My REOKK TT genealogy ADV seed. Suits CT to our minds. Feel like our own bodies. But why come to Earth? Captain Yunji asked, still suspicious, if not to conquer us. Sang and Tai exchanged looks. Then Sang typed, Suit technology failing. Need new ideas. Ninugu PARTNERSHITs. Tai held up his tablet. Shivjo with them. Sang hesitated, then touched a control on his armor. The chest plate opened with a soft hiss. Inside was a complex arrangement of tiny controls and neural connectors. At the center was what looked like a small chair, perfectly sized for a Myriok pilot. "This is remarkable," Hanbiol whispered, examining the suit. "The neural interface must be incredibly sophisticated." Captain Yunji frowned. "So the fearsome Myriok warriors that have conquered 17 worlds are actually just tiny cat aliens in mechanical suits." Tay typed quickly, "Not Qon Quered. Puro TCTE. Worlds 3 need by SARL. Who are the Skrill?" Jaiho asked. "Our ancient enemy," Sang explained. "Larger species. Hunt us for centuries. We flee, build Inidu homes." Hanbiol's eyes widened. "You're refugees, not conquerors." "Yes," both Tai and Sang typed at the same time. Captain Yunjai looked unconvinced. "And we're supposed to just believe this? That all the stories about the mighty Myriok Empire are wrong?" "Not wrong," Sang typed. "Incomplete. We fight we in need. Protect allies. But pray for your peace." Jaiho crouched down to be at eye level with the two Myriok. "So when I found Tai, I didn't know I was helping an advanced scout for your people, and you didn't know humans might be willing to help you without being forced." Tay touched Jaiho's hand with one tiny paw. His golden eyes seemed to smile. "I came to study WIKNS," Ta typed. "Found strength instead. Humankind in S." Captain Yunji took a deep breath. She looked at Jaiho, then at the two small aliens. Finally, she turned to her officers. "Stand down," she ordered. "I don't think we're in danger here." The soldiers lowered their weapons, though they still looked unsure. Sang's ears perked up. He typed, "Thank you, Captain. My fleet stays in deep space, awaits mi Signal. What should I tell them?" Captain Yunji shook her head. "That's not my decision to make. We need to contact Earth Command and explain the situation." For the next few hours, the field became a center of frantic activity. More EDF officers arrived, along with government officials and scientists. Tai and Sang patiently answered hundreds of questions, explaining Myriok history, technology, and intentions. Jaiho stayed close to Tai throughout it all. Despite the confusion and excitement, he felt proud of his small friend. Without knowing it, he had helped change the future of two species. Late that night, when most of the officials had left to report to their superiors, Jaiho sat alone with Tai and Sang. Hanbiol had gone with Captain Yunji to brief the scientific council, promising to return in the morning. "So what happens now?" Jaiho asked the two Myriok. Sang typed, "Much talking. Politics. Agreement. Boring." Jaiho laughed. "You don't sound very excited about it." "Prefer action to words," Sang admitted. Then added, "But important." Ta patted Jaiho's hand to get his attention. "You fix my body with simple tools. Imagine what humans and Myriok would build together." Jaiho looked at the exoskeleton he had made for Ta. It was just a simple thing, created from spare parts in his shop. But Tai was right. It represented something bigger. "Your battle suits are failing," Jaiho asked Sang. "Yes, neural connections degradn. Old TCE netology. Need new AP growage." Jaiho thought for a moment. "I might have some ideas about that, if you'd be willing to let me look at your suit's systems." Sang's ears shot up in surprise. "You would help, even knowing our history." "You're not what we thought you were," Jaiho said simply. "And maybe we're not what you thought we were either." Seems like a good place to start. 6 months later, Jaiho's small repair shop had become something very different. The main building was now 4 times larger, with new rooms filled with advanced equipment. The sign outside no longer read HFY Repairs, but Earth Miriok Joint Technology Center. Inside, humans and Miriok worked side by side. Some Miriok were miniature exoskeletons based on HFY's original design for TIE, but improved with Earth materials and technology. Humans learned about the advanced neural interfaces that allowed the small aliens to control their battle suits with just their thoughts. Captain Yunji, now Major Yunji, served as the military liaison to the center. She had become one of the strongest supporters of the Alliance after seeing how the Miriok technology could help injured EDF soldiers walk again. Han Biol led a team studying Miriok biology, discovering that their genetic makeup contained elements that could revolutionize human medicine. In return, human doctors helped the Miriok with their genetic condition that had caused their species to shrink over generations. And at the heart of it all were HFY and TIE, still working together on new designs. They had developed a new generation of suits, smaller, more efficient, and more comfortable for the Miriok pilots. But these were not just battle suits anymore. Some were designed for exploration, others for medical use, and still others for construction in dangerous environments. "Did you ever imagine this would happen?" HFY asked Ta one evening as they sat on the roof of the center, watching the stars. Ta shook his head. He no longer needed a tablet to communicate. A small device attached to his exoskeleton translated his thoughts directly into a soft voice. "Never," Ta said. "I was sent to find weaknesses. Instead, I found a friend." HFY smiled. "And I thought I was saving a tiny alien cat with dwarfism. I had no idea you were normal-sized for your species." "That is what humans do," Commander Sang said, joining them on the roof. His voice device was deeper than Ta's. "You see someone small and hurt, and you help. This is your strength." "Not all humans are like that," HFY said honestly. "Not all Miriok are like us either," Tay replied. "But enough are. Enough to make this work." In the distance, they could see the lights of a Miriok ship landing at the new spaceport built specially for their smaller vessels. More Miriok were arriving each week, bringing their knowledge and learning from humans in return. The stars above seemed brighter somehow. Both humans and Miriok were looking at them with new eyes, not as separate species, but as partners. All because a human mechanic had saved what he thought was a midget feline alien beast suffering from severe dwarfism, without knowing what it really was, and what the Miriok didn't know.